there listening, and welcome back to yet another episode of your Slightly Mighty podcast, the local podcast dedicated to the many musicians, venue owners, and concert promoters who call Charleston, South Carolina, their home. My name is Hop, your host and humble facilitator, and today will be our 19th episode together. Only one more episode to go, and I'm feeling a bit conflicted. Although it may not always be apparent, this show does take a lot of work and preparation, and I could use a bit of a break. However, during the interim, I will be brainstorming a second season, and perhaps we'll return even mightier after some reflection, a few format tweaks here and there, and a little more fine-tuning. So if you have any suggestions, please send them along to hopturn@gmail.com. As stated many times before, all of our previous conversations are available for free on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and YouTube. You can also find short video clips on the SMP YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing what it is we all look like and where we're taping the show. If you'd like to help grow the show, please share the show on whatever social media platforms you inhabit. And for the last time this season, I'd like to say special thanks to Mr. Drew Madden of Maybank Public House for allowing SMP to freely exist here. So please show them some love by stopping by and reserving the big table for yourself. Cold beer and warm faces await you. Sitting down with us today, we have Mr. Lee Barbour. For transparency's sake, Lee and I sat down a while ago to record this episode, but were plagued with technical issues. Specifically, my brand new and formatted and thrice-checked SD card made the executive decision that only 8 seconds of the interview was worthy of documenting. To say the least, I was devastated as it was such a great interview and Lee was an amazing guest. Having to call him and tell him the bad news was rather tough, as I truly hate wasting other people's time. However, Lee was incredibly understanding and courteous and agreed to be interviewed once more to get it right. And so here we are. I did manage to record much of the original interview on a secondary device and told Lee that I could salvage the interview, but that it just wouldn't sound as good as past interviews I've conducted. Much to my surprise, Lee elected to just redo the whole thing, stating that the quality of your show should stay consistent. What a great teachable moment that was for me, to stay focused on consistency. So please sit back and prepare yourselves for more teachable moments for my second interview with one of Charleston's most talented guitarists, Mr. Lee Barbour. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Lee. I guess I should say welcome back. We tried to record this before. I hit all that in the introduction, so we don't have to go
Okay.
again. But thank you for coming back.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in then. First experiences in music. We're going to go back like that. We're going to proceed chronologically like we did before. So what are some early memories you had? What kind of got you into playing guitar and this path that you're on?
Well, first musical experiences probably came around the age of 6, 7. I took piano lessons, and at my mom's request, she is a pianist and church organist, and she taught music in the public school system until she retired maybe 10, 15 years ago. She knew she couldn't teach me because she was my mom and I just wasn't going to listen. Right. So she wisely, and respect to her for coming out of pocket to do it, even though she certainly could have taught me. She got a piano teacher for me, and I had, I think, about 4 or 5 years of piano lessons. And during that time, I learned to read music. I learned to listen to music in the way that I guess that my mom listened to it and would talk to me about music.
So you were analyzing it.
Yeah, and figuring out what made it emotional. I remember listening to Grieg's Concerto in A minor, and I still go back and listen to it now because I love it, and I definitely have most of it memorized and really enjoy it. But that comes from when I was, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years old, and my mom would listen to it. We'd listen to it in the car on tape.
Oh, great!
And we would. During the adagio section, the second section, like she would always cry. And I was always like, that is really interesting. I didn't know music could do that.
Right. Your mom, was she a typical emotional person, or music kind of brought it out of her?
No, she's pretty stiff-lipped,
Okay. So when you saw the tears come, you knew it was
Yeah.
serious time.
Like, is she okay? And
Right.
then she would explain later. She's like, yeah, it's just so beautiful. And, every time I hear it, I cried. So, and then I also remember listening to the same tape in my bedroom, just listening over and over to that adagio in particular, and trying to allow my body to feel that way and to maybe cry or experience emotions or whatever was going to happen, to just being open to that experience. That was pretty unique. So in addition to, the reading and writing theory aspect of it, there was a serious emotional component to it that I got at a young age that has definitely stayed with me.
Right. Do you think having an exposure to music theory at that age, I mean, obviously it's a good thing for a musician to have it as early as you can get it, but how does that influence or inform your relation with it now? Do you kind of, are you a theory thinker? Or are you more of an emotional thinker? Do you just and that tool's kind of there if you need it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think that really much of what I learned back then really transfers. I mean, maybe it did, just in the sense that I was using my brain to first kind of think about music, perhaps. But the logistical reality of the theory that a 8 or 9-year-old is studying.
Well, sure.
Yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with what I do now. But once I got to college, I definitely, I took 4 years of theory. And
okay, let's talk about that. Where did you go to college again?
USC.
Okay.
Columbia.
And would you like to elaborate on that a little bit? What was that like? What year was that?
That was...
Policing myself. That's how old.
I've already mentioned the tape deck. So I think that would have been around 96, 97. And I went there. At first, I was an undeclared major, and I was thinking about being a journalism major because I'm a pretty natural writer, and I enjoy it. And I'm a good speller. I won my county spelling bee, I think, in the 6th grade or something.
Okay.
Comes pretty naturally to me, and I thought maybe that would be a good path. But I had been playing my dad's guitar since I picked that up in 9th grade. And so I'd been playing that for 4 years, and then I took a year off to work right after high school. So I'd been playing for basically like 5 years guitar. And when I got there, I just decided, during that first year, that there was really nothing else I wanted to do. I just wanted to learn more about music, more about the guitar. I wanted to perform. I wanted to write, but mostly I just wanted to, and I still want to reach my potential as a musician in this lifetime. And that was the motivation for going into the jazz program. I had 2 choices. There was classical and there was jazz. And the only thing that I really knew about jazz was that there was improvisation involved.
Right.
And that was...
Had you had a lot of experience with improvisation before?
Yeah, pretty much the past 5 years with the guitar, because I didn't know anything about it. Whereas the piano, I kind of learned it in a certain way, and I didn't really like it. I think because I had learned it in a way that wasn't maybe the most foundational or natural way for me personally to learn. So, I only improvised because I didn't know what else to do. And it wasn't even really, I mean, it certainly wasn't good, but it was... You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know any scales. I didn't know any arpeggios. I didn't have any tools. So all that I had was the ability to play something and then react as quickly as possible to whatever I just played to play the next thing, and then over and over and over.
Sounds stressful.
It was. Yeah, it really was. And I didn't realize how stressful it was until I really started to study it and actually have some things I could kind of lean on as an improviser. Yeah, stressful is a good word for it. Although it was also, there was a lot of freedom in that. I didn't play patterns. I didn't play scale runs.
Right.
And stuff that sounded like I'm running arpeggios. Didn't know them. Impossible. You know, impossible to be cliche because I was just making it all up.
That's interesting.
Still, it sounds good, but it didn't sound good.
Okay.
The theory.
So where was that coming from? That desire to improvise. What were you listening to at that point?
Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Fish.
Okay.
Yeah, those were, Jerry and Trey were kind of my guys.
You still go back to that?
Yeah, occasionally, not very often. When I tour with Jazz's Fish, that I'll have to go back and really study and as I'm studying, sometimes I'll go to some other stuff and listen just for fun and go back to that because it takes me back to, another time when I was a different person, kind of with a different brain, certainly a different musician. Yeah, and coming back to that music to play it with, some really heavy jazz musicians is really cool.
Mm-hmm. I haven't got a chance to hear you guys. I've seen it online though. I've seen you guys play online. Mm-hmm. When y'all doing that again or frequently?
It's kind of just everybody, just like in everything else, is doing 100 different things.
Sure.
So whenever Adam Chase and his wife Mimi Chase, they book the band, but they are also booking other bands and doing other projects. So it's just kind of whenever it happens when they put something together. And there's kind of a rotating list of myself and Bob Lanzetti and Matt Chase, Adam's brother, and just a handful of guys, and then the horn players, and everybody gets rotated in and out. But there's a kind of a library of repertoire that we all kind of agree on in advance and then come together, rehearse the night before, and then go on tour.
What's your favorite Fish song to do?
It was, oh geez, I'm blanking on the name now. It's one of the really challenging ones. It's not Reba.
Fluffhead.
No.
Divided Sky.
I do love playing Divided Sky. We did a really cool arrangement of that incorporated some Coltrane,
nice.
Coltrane tune into that, and this real like heavy funk groove, and then kind of comes in and out of Divided Sky. But yeah, I do really still mostly enjoy that side of Fish, the like heady, complex, Zappa-esque.
Honestly, kind of me too. I think it's probably because we're a similar age. I'm probably a little older than you, but like I remember in the '90s, back when they were not the big band that they are today, you could go see them. I honestly felt they were a little more like Frank Zappa than they were like
heavily influenced by it.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Like I was going for the technicality. I really enjoyed hearing them pull off some of these feats that they were doing. I hadn't seen that. Most of my music was all rock and roll and funk and stuff. I hadn't seen somebody like that much of a show being spent on the edge like that.
Yeah,
it's great.
Oh, it's insane. Their memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That they're able to.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I mean they've got over 1,000 original compositions as a band, and even in a single night, they might play Reba and Fluffhead and 10 other like pop tunes that aren't quite so poppy. It's a lot. It's really impressive what they're able to do and come up with on stage.
So let's talk about guitar some more.
Sure.
What is it about the guitar that you liked? You started off as a piano player. You could have been a piano player, but you went to guitar. What was it about it, and what is it about it currently that keeps pulling you back to it?
Chicks. It was Chicks in 8th grade.
Did it work?
9th grade. No, it didn't work. It was not enough for me, my friend. It was a valiant effort, and I appreciate the guitar's role in helping me get a little bit closer to girls, but no, I don't think it ever really helped.
Adjacent?
Girl adjacent, yeah. That was me in high school. Yeah, I was. It was really just after the first, the initial like, oh, okay, I can play. I can play every rose has its thorn, and at a summer beach party or.
It's a must.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that. But once I kind of got past that, it was like, oh, okay, well, I actually don't really care about that at all. I'm really kind of just fascinated by this instrument now, and curious as to like what I can do on it. And like I said, I didn't really know anything. So once you move beyond, well, how do you play this song? It's kind of like, well, what's left? Well, it's whatever comes out of you at any given time without necessarily having a form or, chord shapes or whatever, just like pure improvisation. And especially listening to Fish, they would do a lot of those pure improvisations, especially when they would do it a cappella, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that blew my mind the first time I saw it. What are they doing?
Yeah, it's just so.
Honestly, they're not the best singers.
No, they're not.
But they were having fun, and what they were doing was creative and pretty well put together. It was impressive as hell.
They don't have to be. You really just have to be brave enough to stand up there and do it, and just kind of see what happens, and have faith and trust in your fellow bandmates that everybody's going to go with. Yeah.
Everybody's got to be supportive of it for sure. So before we move on, let's talk a little bit more about the good old days. I know the last time we did this interview, I asked you about Gradual Lean. Could you comment on that? And I mean, a lot of people that I know have talked a lot about it. I moved down here pretty much right after you guys stopped playing a lot.
When was that?
I think I came down here in 2004. Was that about the same time?
Oh, okay.
2005, maybe.
Yeah. Probably something like that. I moved to New York in 2008.
Okay.
So even a couple years before that, we had kind of calmed down because I think we stopped playing at Fig in maybe 2006, 5 or 6, something like that. So, yeah, Gradual Lean. I mean, just
who all was in it?
It's a force of nature. Kevin Hamilton.
Yeah.
Charlton Singleton. Quentin Baxter. Clay Ross at the beginning, and then I moved to town, or about the time within about a year overlap that he moved to New York. So he was originally playing with them, and then I started playing with them, and then there have been a handful of guys who've come in and out. Kebby Williams from Atlanta has joined us. Got some old recordings of Richard White joining us on a couple tunes. Strangely enough, I actually was going through an old hard drive yesterday to edit this movie that I scored like 10 years ago, and I found some old Gradual Lean recordings from
live shows.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and man, like just the youth and enthusiasm and intensity of like circa 2012, 13. Gradual Lean is something special. I'll probably be sharing it pretty soon.
Well, if you have something, send it to me. I'd like to put it out.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's like it was recorded on one of these.
Oh, nice.
Right, these HQ whatever
right.
recorders, but like the first one, and the speakers are just getting rocked, and so there's all this like digital distortion
right. Doesn't know what to do with it all.
But it's actually kind of cool. It's if cool. If it had been a production choice, it would have been a kind of a cool one.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
That's lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's just raw energy, man. I love it.
So you guys are going to get back together at some point and go on world tours, or?
I don't know. That's kind of up to these guys.
I gotcha.
Just because they're already world touring,
right.
And they're so busy with so many different projects, and I like to stay closer to home these days. Working a lot on film scores and just focusing on more like ambient music. And
I love that stuff. By the way, I love it. It's great. Yeah. But film scoring. Well, we can talk about that actually.
Well,
right now, if you
I would
want.
say Craig at Proof did reach out just a couple days ago asking about gradually playing at Proof maybe in the next 3 weeks to a month. So like pretty soon.
That's cool.
We haven't locked down a date yet, but that's coming pretty sure.
That'd be great. Well, let's move on to what we're doing right these days. The song is You with Heather Rice. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, Heather is a beautiful singer in person and friend of mine who I've been working with for, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years now. She's been in Charleston, and we've played a bunch of private gigs together, and we've collaborated on a few different things. And this was just a tune that I wrote for my wife, Vicky, and it around the same time Heather and I were working on some other things, and just at a certain point I was like, you know what, she would be perfect. She's like the perfect voice to sing over this kind of retro future electronica track. And
so you did all the production work, did all the recording?
Yeah, so I wrote it, the music and the lyrics, and I did all the production, and I mastered it. And I had Ron Wiltrout come and play on it, and Jonathan Lovett also plays on it as well. So yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. I really I love it. I love being able to spend time in my studio creating things like exactly the way that I like them to be, and just kind of watching that process unfold, and then throwing insanely talented musicians on it, and seeing them do often something completely different
take it
than
their
I
own
would have
direction
chosen,
a little bit,
and it just be so much better. And I love seeing my music get elevated like that. It's a really beautiful process. And yeah, Heather, as the lead voice on that, just totally brought it to life.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, she sounded like she was born for the song.
Yeah. Well, she's born to sing pretty much anything. I mean, she just crushed a Celine Dion tribute.
Right.
Like a month ago.
Did you play on that too?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I think she's the only one in town that could really do that, do it justice, and she did. It was a terrific show.
Okay, well, let's give it a shot. You with Heather Rice.
Who is the one that built this fire and rubbed the ashes on my tongue? Who calls the wolves with her desire and speaks in sleep of growing young? Honey, you found a note and made a chorus. You sang a song that changed the world, about the ones that came before us, about a boy, about a girl. Honey, you.
So we're back. What are some things that you noticed about the Charleston music scene that distinguishes it from other places? I know you've played a lot on the road. You're getting away from that a little bit, but what is it about Charleston that you find unique here?
I'd say primarily the interconnectivity of it, the community of it, how so many different musicians of different genres come together. Not necessarily because everybody can play every genre or loves every genre, so much as that people are just friends. It's a small town, you know, and there's a lot of us have been here for a long time. You know, speaking of that, I went to Carrie Ann's birthday celebration just this past Saturday at the Poorhouse, and
Right.
it was incredible. I saw so many people
Sure.
that I haven't seen in so long, and the music was incredible. And you know, Ron, who's an incredible jazz musician, playing with Garage Cuban Band, and you know, Bill Carson up there playing that, and then playing you know, a bunch of indie rock, with the In-Laws and Joel Hamilton. It's
cool.
Yeah, it was just there was so much cool music going on.
Kind of like a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, it's the Shrimp Family Band, you know, Shrimp Records. That's Carrie and Michael's little label.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They, man, they're doing great, and we've all just been friends for so long. It just always kind of feels like a homecoming, you know. I feel like people collaborate here and don't stick to their little niches quite as much as, say, like New York or Chicago or just bigger cities in general. I think the size makes it easier for us to just all kind of get along.
Do you think that the sound of the city is kind of like, I mean, like you think of certain cities, certain places in time, even, you know, have like a sound to them, you know? Do you think Charleston is creating a sound of its own, or do you think it's just going to kind of continue to be like you describe?
Well, I mean, I think overall the tendency is toward just kind of the jammier side of roots rock.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it makes for a nice show. Generally, it keeps things fresh.
Right.
It's like if you're kind of like an indie electronica band, it's like, well, you got to have a really tight show, generally running tracks, and you know, it's
a lot of production.
It's gonna be kind of exactly the way it is, and so then you have to rely on like a, you know, smoke show and lights, and I don't know, kicking around a, you know, inflatable hot dog or whatever whatever people do to like.
It sounds like a great show you're describing.
Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, the things that aren't musical improvisation. I think the musical improvisation keeps people engaged. It's something that makes it different every time, the same song. And I think people are, at least in Charleston, are really down with that. And I appreciate that because I love that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's a big part of what keeps me playing.
Kind of like piggybacking on that idea. Do you think that the particular low country setting has anything to do with, you know, what we're doing here?
I mean,
I think about cities like New York. New York has a sound. You know?
It does. Yeah, I think it's certainly reflected in the fact that we've got islands around us. We're close to the ocean. It's a warm / brutally hot climate at this time of the year. And
this is the regret month for me.
Yeah,
this is where I miss being up north.
For sure, man. It's tough, but this is what spring is for.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you got to pay your dues here.
You got to pay your dues, and then you get all the rest of it.
Fall's coming, spring's coming, even winter's like, who cares really? It's not that big of a deal.
I've just, you know, I guess my comment really is like I've like you were saying, the jam band kind of sound, even in bands who aren't like genre jam band, kind of improvise. A lot of different genres improvise, which is interesting.
I feel like the warm weather and being near the ocean has a lot to do with just influencing a culture to be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I think you're right. 'Cause there's not really a hardcore punk scene here to speak of, or
right. I know there's pockets of it, I
pockets
think.
of it, sure.
But yeah, as far as
I'm gonna get emails about that comment.
sure. But I don't think, even the underground punk community can argue that the jam band aesthetic is the leading
Right.
sound in Charleston, and that, I think, it does have to do with our location and our climate. And it's like if you're in New York and it's cold and it's expensive and you're broke and you're just trying to get by, that produces a
harder edge,
more angular,
Oh, I like that
type of sound, I think.
Right.
Whereas down here, it's just it's more like waves, perhaps.
Let's switch gears. What kind of advice? I know that you've done your share of teaching, and I know that you've done your share of playing all around this town. What is some advice that you would like to you could give to musicians and other professionals that you've learned along the way, like people who are just kind of starting out or looking to get established?
Well,
what's important?
What's important is that you make music for yourself. Particularly as we move into this unknown AI-dominated, perhaps, future.
Big question mark there.
Big question mark. And there's a lot of question marks. It's not just AI. About what's going to be viable to be a working musician, to be able to, are we going to continue to be able to make a living? I don't know. We're certainly going to have to pivot, as we have time and time again. When Napster and all those things came around, and that digital revolution, and all of a sudden all music was free. That changed things up quite a bit. People adapted. I think we'll adapt to AI as well. I hope so. I mean, I'm still in heavy agreement with that meme that was like, AI was supposed to do my laundry and cut the grass, and now it's like making music and designing graphics for me. It's like, that's not what anyone wants. We all want to be creative on our own terms, and hopefully be able to do it to the point where we don't necessarily have to do anything else.
But our leisure will be our main pursuits, our hobbies and interests.
Well, just that, making music, if you really practice and you really have a distinctive voice, or you've found your particular niche in this multifaceted industry, that you don't also have to be a barista, or a website designer or whatever, which, or
a social media expert.
Yeah, but social media, graphic designer, website design, those are all going to get eaten up by AI pretty soon too. Yeah. So it can be tricky looking at what is the future going to be as a young musician starting out. But that's why it goes back to what I said at first. It has to be for you, and if you don't have to do it, and I'm just talking about as a living, not as just a human. As a human, you should absolutely do art and music and everything, because it makes you a better human, in my opinion.
I agree.
But as
everybody has some in them somewhere. They could do something.
Of course. As far as doing it as a living, just you have to have no plan B, I think. You have to be so on board with it that you're just going to do whatever it takes. And honestly, that's not a great way to go into a business, because it leaves you kind of vulnerable to people who might prey on that. Of course, that's what happened for the most part with record labels through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. A few big acts made it. Most didn't and got fronted a bunch of money and then never made anything off of it. So it's always been David Goliath, with the music industry, and maybe it always will be. But you've got to do it for yourself. I have to do it for myself because I don't know who is going to receive it, if it will be received by anyone, if anyone's listening. It's hard to know sometimes, and that can get really frustrating.
Yeah.
That can lead to a whole host of other issues. But I really do think if you just keep making music for yourself, that eventually more can happen, but you can't count on that happening. You have to be happy by just the act of creation and grateful that you're alive to do that. And that's really about all that you're owed.
Yeah, that's about all you're owed.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
So what do you expect from yourself as an artist? I mean, obviously the creative part is why you're in the game, I suppose, right? I mean,
yeah.
What do you expect of yourself when you wake up in the morning? 100% effort every day, or? Probably
way too much. I have definitely put, a lot of pressure on myself over the years to be the best that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
And in my younger years, I really thought I had the potential to be one of the top guitarists in the world. And as I got older and learned more and listened more, it kind of became clear that, maybe I know that was my original goal when I was like 16 years old, but it's okay if that needs to switch, if that needs to change, just a slight course correction. Like, I still love music and I love doing this, but perhaps the virtuoso path is not necessarily the one that I have to follow. And I've been focusing more on that the past few years. And I think that's more where this ambient music creation, production, more as a sound architect. Actually, just put that on my Instagram because that's kind of more
how it feels when you're working in a
it's
studio.
More accurate to what I do. It's juggling a bunch of layers and figuring out how they go together, like in a puzzle, where you kind of have an idea of what you're going for sometimes, and then also sometimes you end up with something completely different. The process in the studio is just one of constant renewal of process until you don't even know what it is that you're bringing to life, but then one day there it is, it's just done.
And how do you know when it's done?
It's just kind of a feeling. I actually finished an ambient piece right before I went to Greece, and I finished it kind of quick because I was like, I want to do this. I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks. I don't, I just want to knock this out, and then I'll be able to use it to promote, and I'll put it on Facebook, and I'll put it on cause I post on several different filmmaker pages to just as part of promotion and getting my stuff out there. But when I listened to it while I was in Greece, I was like, oh man, this actually doesn't sound the way I wanted it to. It's kind of like, looking at a sculpture you've carved out of stone and realizing that there's a few more pieces that need to be trimmed down. And I just realized that there were way too many mids in this, and that it was taking up a bunch of energy, and it came to me as mids are like carbs. You know,
A lot of energy, but not a lot
it's
of
like it feels good at first,
right. Not a lot of endurance.
but then it just like hangs out in your gut,
Huh.
and it just kind of makes you fat eventually. Yeah, it's like it took the whole track and it just weighed it down.
Right.
And so I took them out, you know, not completely, but I
You're talking about mixing or instrument specific?
yeah,
Mixing?
yeah, frequency specific, to the whole track. And then I started cutting some other parts away, and then I started adding a few other like smaller parts. And once I did that, it became so much more interesting. 'Cause there's all these little parts and not this huge, you know, carb burger in the middle.
Right.
It was, yeah. And so I was so much happier with the piece after I did that. It took me another, you know, half a day to like go in and edit it. And it wasn't for anything. It wasn't for a project I was being paid for. It was just this overwhelming desire to be as true to the music and bring the most beautiful thing into creation that I can. And that process, that's what I mean by like, you have to do it for yourself.
Right.
If you're not that obsessed or into like creating something like that, maybe don't try to do it like for your living. Maybe
Right.
do it for, just do it for fun. Because, even this for me is mostly for fun. Like I don't have, Hans Zimmer level scoring projects by any means.
Right.
I'm not getting paid really to do that stuff yet. But I'm working toward it. I have done it in the past, but now that I'm kind of going back to that path, I'm just excited to be doing it. It feels like when I was listening to to that Grieg concerto as a little 8-year-old trying to understand why music was moving me emotionally. It's kind of the same process now, which is beautiful. I'm so thankful that I still have this thing that I can connect to 30 plus years later.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were writing songs, are you just kind of listening to the songs in your head and you're just kind of going into your studio, making them, kind of cutting them out of the ether, or do you have like goals, or is it a combination of those things? Or
it's nice when I have a picture to score to. I don't always have that, so sometimes it's like, well, I'll listen to some other people, I'll get some ideas, I'll say I like this about that, and I like this composer over here, and maybe what if I tried to kind of blend my perceptions of 2 or 3 different composers, like what might that sound like? And sometimes I just sit down and I create sounds to then use later. So I've got folders full of sounds that I've created, and also samplers. That's been a big thing of mine recently, is creating sounds, loading them into a sampler, tweaking that sampler, and then sometimes putting a series of effects on that sampler, re-recording that to create new samples, and saving that sampler as a preset.
interesting.
So that now I have like a once, twice, 3 times removed manipulated sample that I can then use as source material,
Right.
to go in, so that I'm not starting with the same sample libraries, that everyone has, or
Yeah.
it feels like it takes me closer to a more authentic self-expression.
So what are some themes that you have that you're kind of playing with in your music? Do you have like constant themes that are kind of recurring to you? Like a painter might have a blue period or such.
I don't know. I think that has to be probably decided by other people,
Okay.
probably at a later date.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's kind of hard to see it when you're in the middle of it,
I
I
guess
guess. But yeah, I am really big into ambient music and film scores right now. One of my favorite guys, who I've been listening to for many years, but actually haven't listened to for maybe 6 or 7, and then just recently came back to him, is an artist named Tim Hecker. And he's a very talented producer, sound explorer. It's ambient, but not like relaxing ambient. I mean, sometimes it is.
What should we have heard from him?
Well, he's done several film scores because his sound, and he has a very, I think, personal sound, has certainly attracted a lot of filmmakers just because it is so identifiable.
Cool.
And it lends itself so well to the visual medium. He has a way of manipulating samples and textures and space. I mean, I've listened to some interviews with him, and I think kind of his basic MO is like he likes the process of like organic acoustic instruments being sampled and degraded. So this whole process of kind of birth and death within acoustic and electronic sounds, and having those things interplay. He's created, several albums just based off kind of that general concept.
Okay.
And he's amazing. And he puts on live shows, and I haven't actually been to one, but I've seen some on YouTube and heard him describing them and like what goes into producing it. It's he tries to create like a womb-like atmosphere where it's not like a bunch of screens. In fact, a lot of times there's no screens. He opened for Sigur Rós, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, and it was they basically just try to they'll put like smoke through the whole place so that you can't really see around you, so it keeps your perspective here and then near and then far and near and far, and you certainly can't talk to other people because they make it at the edge of like where it's going to hurt your ears, like, so that it's so all-consuming that you can't like look at your phone and
you're literally breathing it in too.
Right. So it's this inescapable experience that feels like these days is kind of necessary to just like be like, hey, well, like stop looking at your phone. Like,
right.
It just
right.
There's this experience being offered to you here, and
you're alive.
Yeah.
There's not going to be historians lining up at your grave to see all of your phone videos. I mean, it's
yeah. And people are creating really cool experiences, but you have to pay attention. You have to support it, and he's one of my favorite artists.
Well, I'll definitely be checking it out. Thank you. So talking about when I think of some of your music that I find cinematic, the song "A Moment That Wasn't" kind of pops into my mind. Would you care to explain what's going on with that one?
A Moment That Wasn't. Yeah, that's from Ultrasound, which was the concept album that I made for the birth of our first child. And I recorded for probably 9 months prior to his birth.
That's fascinating.
Like ambiances from around our house.
Interesting.
In our house from travels that we would take. Therapy sessions that my wife and I would have a mentor, one of my mentors talking with my father about Vietnam, and like how close he came to being shot in the head, and like his buddy who was like 3 feet from him, was killed right in front of him. And telling these stories. And I took that and also like 4 hours of the actual birth and edited it down to a 4.5 minute track that I think is probably the only live birth on iTunes. It was all this concept to produce music and create a conceptual album that revolved around this huge, impactful moment in my life, and that would also be something that my son could could listen to for the rest of his life, and that he was able to hear the very first sound that came out of his mouth.
Wow.
His first cry, the nurses being like, come on, patting him on the back, trying to get that first cry to come out. And there it was. And
When are you going to tell him about all this? I mean, are you waiting for a specific age?
oh, no, he's heard it.
Okay.
He's heard it. He's 8 now.
Okay.
And he's listened to it several times.
And what does he think?
He likes it.
That's cool.
He likes my music, surprisingly. Yeah. Quite a bit. He's a fan.
That's great.
Yeah. But it's one of the tunes off of that album, and so all of the tunes on there have some amount of meaning toward that greater concept. So don't you know that there's never been a moment in time that wasn't now? This kind of becomes this mantra that I'm not sure when or where that came to me, but I used it just as a mantra to then build a track that kind of builds around it. It was appropriate to the time in my life.
Okay. Well, let's give it a listen.
Don't you know that there's never been a moment time that wasn't now. Don't you that there's never been a moment in time that wasn't now.
Sing to God.
Don't you know that there's never was it now? Don't you know that there's never been a moment in time that wasn't now.
All right, and we are back. Just a couple questions here. What is it about recording soundtracks and sound scores that has attracted you? Is it because of just the fact that it's another financial opportunity, or is there something artistic about that endeavor that you really resonate with?
Oh, no, I'd say it's been much more of a financial liability.
Oh, okay.
Which is
So far, anyway.
so far, yeah.
Right.
We're hopefully going to turn that around. But no, I mean, just as far as the amount of time and years that I've had to put into becoming the composer and the producer and the mixing engineer and the mastering engineer that I've become, and all the tools that I've purchased over the course of time to create my studio and my space. And yeah, it's it's an expensive endeavor. It's an expensive passion, but also it's like kind of my favorite thing to do in the whole world. So like, if you're going to spend money on something, it seems like that's a worthy one. There's a lot of worse ways to spend your money. So yeah, I really enjoy putting music to picture.
Okay.
That's like, I really love that challenge. And there's something about it when picture and sound connect that I think we all experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like it's taking advantage of your main sensory input too. I mean,
yeah, well,
people learn one of those two ways.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, music tells you what to feel in a movie.
Yeah.
I took a course on it maybe 12 years ago. And one of the examples was, okay, there's a little girl sitting in a field of flowers. What is she feeling? Okay, what is she feeling? Okay, now there's woodwinds and high strings and maybe some light muted horn parts. What is she feeling? Okay, now there's a dark bass ostinato, gong 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 gong, and some cellos and maybe some grinding violins. It's a completely different feeling with the same image. You just have to know what the story is. One of the kind of maxims of film scoring is not to make it so obvious what's on screen, but to you're not scoring the image, you're scoring the character's internal world. So it actually helps to facilitate and push the story forward by the choices you make as a composer. Because if the character is saying one thing, but that they're actually lying, and there's something else going on there, that needs to be reflected. Yeah. Because
there's no narrative either.
There's no narrative.
Yeah, there's no voice from beyond telling you how to think. So
it's the music. So yeah, I love that about it, and I don't know, for some reason I have a really natural connection toward film and of course music. I took a couple film classes in college and really thought that I was really into movies for a while, I guess, and then I kind of got out of that phase, and now I'm just kind of coming back to it, and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. Let's talk about guitar. What are some things about the guitar that continue to challenge you at this point? So what is it that you're rehearsing now, or are you having trouble with?
I'm not. I'm basically not putting myself into situations anymore where I'm not able to kind of be the best version of myself as a musician and a guitarist that I can be. Whereas before, I think I was way more into just taking whatever challenge was in front of me. And sometimes that put me in situations where I just didn't sound very good.
What do you think the difference is? Age, possibly, or just
I think
just knowing
age.
yourself better?
Yeah, I think age and understanding that that yes, I am an accomplished guitarist, but I can't do everything. I can't do everything as well as I can do some things. And I really it seems kind of obvious now that I'm saying it out loud, but playing to your strengths
Right.
is a good idea. Maybe not constantly having to push yourself into other realms where you really don't know what you're doing, but try to learn. I think that's good to do in your 20s and 30s, maybe, where your early 30s, where you're really trying to figure out who you are. What genres are you most skillful at and enjoy the most, so that you're going to put more of your time into developing yourself along those lines. I just kind of took whatever was in front of me, and that's also part of doing it for a living. You kind of have to do that. At least I've had to, or I thought I had to keep working so I could continue to be a musician. So I could pay my bills and have maybe a family and a kind of normalish life, buy a house maybe. All those things are dependent upon being able to, work as much as possible. And now I'm just trying to do things a little bit differently and not get after it quite so hard.
Okay.
I mean, I am on the film scoring side of things. I cold emails,
Right. Putting the
to
time in.
directors and producers, and more the admin stuff, more the stuff that I don't want to do, and most musicians don't want to do. But it's become obvious though that that's the game that wins.
Yeah.
Usually it's the admin. It's not that they don't care how good of a guitarist I am. They don't. They kind of care how good of a film composer I am, but mostly they care about how I reached out to them, that I researched them prior to reaching out. I'm just hey, I'm a composer, and I'm just, if you ever have anything come across, just let me know, and then on to the next one. Hey, I'm a composer. This is my link.
So it's kind of like the old school EPKs, maybe.
Yeah, it's hey, go check out my website, man. I can score.
MySpace account.
I can score your film. Check out my MySpace. It's hot. I will totally score your film for free. It's
Do you send them samples of your work in the emails too? And is it kind of like that? Is that considered to be over the line?
No, there's ways of doing it. I use a service called Disco.
Okay.
It's a way to organize your tracks and makes playlists specifically for people. So I'll research a director and I'll create a playlist in Disco, and it'll have his name in it and maybe even their production. Maybe I'll grab a screenshot of that somewhere and put it in there and send it to him. Here's a link. I made this playlist for you. I think it might work based on your last film, which I watched and really enjoyed. Maybe it makes sense for this next project that I see you're working on. So
that's the hustle, man.
It's not nearly as exciting as playing a bunch of gigs with a bunch of different people and a bunch of different genres. But I've done that for so long that I'm just kind of ready for a change.
Let's talk real quick about that before we move on. So your relationship to your guitar, obviously probably the longest relationship you've had in your life, I guess.
By far.
Most of us, for sure.
Yeah.
How's that changed over the years?
My relationship to the guitar, it's been pretty constant.
Constant?
I don't think until I don't think I took more than 3 or 4 days away from the guitar for like 20 plus years. So that's a lot of time.
Yes.
And I've loved most of it. I love to practice. I love getting better. I love the feeling of trying to accomplish something and putting in like a 6-hour day. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I am noticeably, markedly a better musician now than I was 6 hours ago. Not like, 2 months later, 6 months later, it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting a little better. No, it's like 6 hours later, I'm better now than I was. Like
That's cool.
I really enjoy that feeling.
What are you rehearsing? What are you working on? I mean,
Right now?
no, just in terms of like getting better. Like,
I'm just saying like that. I mean, I haven't done that in
I see.
years.
Gotcha.
But particularly during COVID, I was able to do that again because I actually had my time back, kind of like it was in college. I mean, I had 8 to sometimes 12-hour practice days in college, and because I didn't have anything else I had to do, and I felt like I was catching up. I had a lot of catching up to do, and so I did. I practiced all the time, and it helped. I got a scholarship, I think my 3rd year, and they could see that I was really trying, and rewarded me for it, and started getting some gigs, and then after I graduated, I decided, based on some friends down here, that I would move from Columbia to Charleston, and of course, I grew up in Somerville.
That's cool.
So, this is my home, but I went to school up there. Not even really sure why I didn't go here.
Maybe needed a change.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Kind of a big university experience up there too, right?
Yeah, something happened to where I didn't go to Charleston, and I went there, and that ended up being such a blessing because if I had gone to Charleston, I wouldn't have gotten the job at CFC after I graduated, but I did because I didn't graduate from CFC.
And what was your job?
I was the adjunct professor of jazz guitar.
Okay.
For 6 or 7 years.
Cool.
Yeah, and that was when I moved down here and started playing with Quentin. And the guitar teacher there was leaving, and Quentin recommended me to teach.
All right, so let's hear another song. This one is called Wonder Years. It's got a lot of good names on this track. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how this kind of came to be and who's on it?
Yeah. Wonder Years. It's one of my favorite shows growing up.
Is that where you got the name from?
Yeah.
It's a great show.
The show and just the effect of those two words together. I like the connotation there as well, and the tune is kind of throwback and kind of nostalgic, and I don't really recall how I came up with it. It wasn't something that I wrote in advance. It was one of the tunes that I just start creating within Logic and find some cool sounds, and then those cool sounds go together with this, and then this becomes an A section and a bridge, and then all of a sudden somehow I have a form and a song, and kind of like you, I created most of it and then decided to add some live musicians to it. So
you sent them the track and they kind of figured out their parts from that, or they kind of responded to it? A little bit of both.
I sent it, some would just send via email, and we would go back and forth, with some tracks. And Cameron Westcott, Caminator, he came in and played some drums. We did it at Wolfgang's studio, and that was a lot of fun. He had heard the temp track, and he just went in there and did his thing. And,
yeah, he's about the funkiest guy around, right?
He really is, man.
Bass too. Jeez.
Yeah.
What a talented kid.
Yeah,
man.
totally.
I guess he's not a kid, but he's younger.
He's a kid to us. he's a very talented kid.
He's a very talented kid.
Who's going to do great things. So
Yeah, if the world's the right place, he will.
yeah.
I agree with that.
Well, maybe he'll just change the world.
Well, hopefully. And let's hear this song, Wonder Years. All right, and we are back. What are some ways we can improve the Charleston music scene, in your opinion? I ask this about a lot of people because this show basically goes out to musicians, really, and I'm just trying to get that conversation going. Maybe nothing, but is there anything that you could, would help us develop it further? Or
Well, I think we need more venues.
or venues?
A venue comes along and they have a general idea of what it is that they're going to bring in musically to represent their venue and be a part of the whole vibe that they're trying to create. Like we said earlier, Poorhouse has clearly staked that out, and they've kind of got their thing, and the Music Farm's got their thing. Music Hall's a little more diverse, and not as local, but they've got their thing as well.
It's really become a great venue too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always been good, but I mean,
yeah.
I've seen some really interesting, like you said, some really diverse acts coming through there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Charles has done incredible things there, and I absolutely love that venue. As far as, I guess I'm referring more to smaller local venues that are going to give more local artists a chance. Not that those places don't, because lots of local artists play there, but I mean more venues that kind of focus on the local artists and focus on building a local following for those local artists, and just styles of music that are outside kind of what we've already previously discussed. I'd love to see more electronic acts. There's a few hip hop acts. I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, there's a couple of really good ones out there. I mean,
for sure.
It's surprising. Like, all right, we'll get through the names because I'm trying to get next season. But
there is a scene here for that, and it's growing, and I love to see that. But I would love to see more experimental music come through town. I really miss the New Music Collective. I don't know if you ever followed those guys, but Nathan Kosey and Ron Wiltrout, they were the founders and directors, and they would get grants and bring in experimental artists from all over the country to perform experimental pieces. And it was always, it was always super interesting. It wasn't always my favorite stuff to listen to, but that's the point.
Right.
It's like, I don't think we should always be comfortable when we're listening to music. It's not there just to comfort you.
Right.
Or to be the background of your study session, or
your fun trip to the beach. Or
it can be all those things, and that's great, but it can be so much more than that. And I don't think we get enough representation of that in Charleston. I would like to see more of that. I purposefully make myself uncomfortable with music, usually 2 or 3 times a week, by listening to things that it's not for pleasure. It's just to open myself to experience whatever the composer, producer, band intended.
Yeah, his intention. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's like I would love for people to do that for my music, so I have to do that for other people's music. I mean, there was a period when I would listen to just modern country, which I don't care for.
Right.
But I would listen as a producer.
Right. There's something to learn there for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, how much compression is being used here? What kind of, what kind of,
how do they make that bass sound?
Yeah. How do, the pedal steel parts, how do they weave between the vocal melody and, where's the guitar solo and, this guy's got 6 seconds to get in there and kill it and get out. There's an art to that as well. So the songwriting aspect of it, the production, the mixing. So there's so much to learn and be exposed to through listening to music that I think we sometimes forget that it's not just like the background soundtrack of our lives. It can be the forefront. It can be the focal point. And when you put it there, it can actually reflect some things back to you and change you. If you'll let it, if you'll give it the chance.
That's great. What are some things that that you want? Well, you don't. Maybe you don't want. But what are some things that that you wish the listeners that have been following your career or are continuing to listen to your music that knew about you? Your own goals and your own thoughts about it. Does it matter?
I mean, ultimately, no, I guess it doesn't. But personally, yeah, I hope people enjoy it. I hope people appreciate how much of my life I've put into it and how authentic my music is to me as a person. I've never created anything for any other reason than that I thought it was the best possible thing I could put out. I never made a song to try and sell albums.
Right. Or to get a gig or something, right?
No, it was, I just, some people do that and they find success with it. And some great songs have come out of that process, but that's never really been my relationship to music. And I think that keeps it more authentic, and that for listeners to know that my connection to music is all encompassing and has been for my whole life. And I've dedicated so much of my life, so much time and discipline toward realizing this expression of music in me for a long, long time. So I hope people listen to it and enjoy it, and that's really it. But like I said before, I'm really doing it because I have to, for myself. I need to create this music so that I have an outlet to express myself. It's my chosen medium. I mean, I like ping pong too, but this...
Are you pretty good?
Pretty good.
I've heard that you were really good.
I'm pretty good. I'm a little rusty now. I haven't played in a while. But music is my medium, and I hope people enjoy it.
That's great. Well, Lee, I think we're going to have to leave it at that for today.
Sounds good.
Thank you for coming by and talking to us again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for
getting that right
having me.
this time for me, anyway.
Thanks for having me back.
It's an honor to have you here with us today. Please, everyone, don't forget to share the show as you see fit. Go see a show, buy some merch, tell your friends. We'll be back with our final Slightly Mighty episode in 2 weeks, and I hope you will all be a little surprised by it. Goodbye for now. Thanks again, Lee.
Thank you. And you got a good radio voice.